What is up, everyone? Today is the day for the panning tutorial video. This is the bag I got for it. This is a 3-gram chunky premium gold Paydirt from Gold Nugget Sales. I've done this material before. It's fairly easy, so I figured this would work. Gold Nugget Sales does sell a beginner bag, which might be more appropriate for a beginner. Culver sells a beginner bag, which is probably the one I would recommend. I think his is, I wouldn't say easier than Gold Nugget Sales, but I think it's more fun, basically. So, anyway, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and bust this open. Oh, first things first. Yeah, let's start out like you're brand new to panning, okay? You want to pan into another pan to catch your tailings, okay? This is my catch pan. Water. Put jet dry in. Jet dry will keep your gold from floating, okay? Don't need a lot, just a couple squirts. You can use Dawn dish soap, but it creates a lot more bubbles than jet dry does. So just keep that in mind, because a lot of people hate the bubbles. I don't like the bubbles, so I stick to jet dry. There's a bunch of different brands. There's a generic Kroger brand you can use, works just the same. It's just the, spotless dish stuff. Rinse Aid is what they call it, I think. Rinse Aid. Kroger brand is called Rinse Aid. Anyway, this is the pan I've been using, but I think most people start out with a pan like this. This is the first pan I ever got, so I'm going to use this today just so you're more comfortable and familiar with what I'm doing. Yeah, so this Paydirt in particular, I already know that most of the gold in this is larger, so I'm not going to hit it with the kitchen strainer. Most people start out with a kitchen strainer. You don't have a stack of classifiers like I have. I'm going to use a 10 mesh classifier just to separate the big stuff from the little stuff. I would recommend getting you the kitchen strainer, just like this one, and use this if you don't have classifiers. This works just fine for starting out. Once you get more advanced and in the pan and like flour gold out, the smaller you can classify down, the more classification you can get, the easier it is to get the flour gold out. There's not going to be much flour gold in this, so I am going to hit it with a 10 mesh, which is a little bit bigger than these. These are about equal to a 20 mesh. That's about as close as I've seen as far as this one that I have. I would imagine there's some that are different, but this one here is pretty close to a 20 mesh, which is smaller than the 10 mesh, right? The mesh on classifiers is like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Those numbers represent how many holes are in a square inch of that stuff. So how many of these holes in a square inch? If there's 4, it's a quarter inch. If there's 6, that's a 6 mesh. If there's 10, that's a 10 mesh. So that's how you know. You get down into 100, that means there's 100 squares in a square inch, and that is a tiny mesh. The smallest one I own is a 50. I've never felt the need to classify smaller than that. So I got these classifiers. This set I got, it goes 10, it goes 1/8 inch, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I got these on Amazon for 39 bucks, I think. You can buy the singles for 10 bucks. If you were just wanting to save some money and just start out, I would recommend buying a 40. hit it with a kitchen strainer, and then hit it with a 40 mesh, and you should be able to get your flour gold out. That would be what I would say. When I classify, I usually only use 10, 20, 40. So anyway, we're going to classify this with the 10 mesh real quick. Oh, also, they come with these little stickers with the number on them. GB410. I wrote on there because I don't like looking for that little number. So yeah, so I use these bowls. I got these bowls at Kroger's. They were 3 of them for $4 or something like that. I don't know. I love them. They're great. So we're just gonna classify this down. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Let me raise this up a little bit. All right, now this gets dusty. A lot of organics in this. When you're classifying, it's best to just do a little bit at a time. Put too much in there and it won't go through. These rocks are dirt balls. These are rocks. Whoa, that would have sucked. There's a lot of material here because it's a 3-gram bag. There's 3 pounds of material. Most beginner bags will be about half of that. So almost done. When the material is dry, I don't really worry about rinsing the bag out. But if the material was wet, you would want to rinse the bag out. Just keep that in mind. You will get stuff stuck in the grate. An old toothbrush works great for getting that stuff out. Just don't have one near me. There we go. Got it. Got everything out. Okay. Here's what we got. We got plus 10. We got minus 10. You right now would have plus kitchen strainer, minus kitchen strainer. Same thing. I always like to start with the small stuff. I don't know why, but that's just the way I do it. and get yourself a spoon. I like this one because it's kind of big. You want to start out, when you're just starting out especially, do not dump the whole bag in the pan. You're going to regret that so bad. Start out with a spoonful. Gives you a feel for what the material's like. One spoonful. Boom, just like that. Alright, we got our jet dry in our water. We got our snuffer bottle. I like to keep so this is really dirty material, so I'm going to be pouring off. I got a bucket by my feet that I use to pour off the muddy water, which depletes this water, so I keep a bucket of water nearby that I can keep refilling. Just got to remember to add jet dry. That's why I added it to this and then I added to that, so I don't have to worry about it. And get some water in there. That's too much. I'm not going to pour. See all them floaters? That's what I don't want in my water. Some people don't mind. I like dirty pay dirt, but I don't like floaters, so I pour them off. So I'm just going to stratify side to side. I'm going to pour this off. That got rid of 99% of it. Sometimes you got to do it 2 or 3 times. Sometimes you only got to do it once. You don't have to do it at all. I mean, it's totally up to you. But you can see how dirty that water is. I like to see what I'm doing. And the pour off water, so I just found this out recently, but the pour off water does contain very small amounts of gold. It just happens. It's very light gold. I wouldn't even call it flour gold. I would call it whatever's beyond flour. So, all right. Now you want to stratify side to side. The idea is that your gold is the heaviest thing in your pan. You want it up under that bottom riffle, okay? Side to side, always side to side, never back and forth like this, never swirl. That pulls everything away. The gold's heavier. The gold will stay back there when everything else goes forward. And then when you lean forward, your gold's going to go out of your pan. That's just. And you can never stratify too much. So here we go. And then you dip. All right. See the material coming off? You want to keep your water from going all the way back. You don't want to hit this. So up to the 3rd riffle, like that. Do it 4 or 5 times, and then scoop water and stratify again. You want to constantly make sure that gold is under that 1st riffle. Just dip, and you'll get, when you start doing it, the motion of the water will take over to where you can just barely move your pan. See how the water's swishing? I'm just barely moving it in and out. When you start seeing the material start getting darker as it gets down to the black sand, that's when I shake it, get it all up there, right? And then you want a little, you can have too much water here, so just a little bit of water like that. And I'm just going to roll it back like that. See how it kind of goes down? And then you can swirl, you can go front to back, however you're comfortable doing it. I tend to do both, but you can see the gold starting to pop through. See it right there? It does not take a lot of jerky movements right here, because you will wash your gold away. And eventually, you get to a spot where you can just tap and the gold will come right out. Once the gold starts moving, it's freed up. And don't hesitate to stick your fingers in there. You don't want to have lotion on your hand. I found that out. If you have lotion on your hands, it'll negate your jet dry and your gold will float. Watch. If I tap over here, the gold will go this way. See? It jumps out of that sand. Clean up. Boom. There we go. There's our gold. Right there. 2 pieces of gold, and then there's a little speck of flour gold. Now, the snuffer bottle is where a lot of people struggled. I struggled when I first started. It's going to be like something you just got to practice, and eventually you'll get the hang of. Get you one of these. Get you a Garrett guzzler. I've tried all kinds of snuffer bottles, and this thing is the best. It's got a big opening. See that opening on that straw? It works great. Here we go. Squeeze it, right? Stick it in the water and slowly let go as you get to the gold. Right? Then you can tap it. That just makes sure it's all out of the straw. If you're squeezing and gold shooting out, that means you're not sucking it in hard enough. That makes sense. Okay, and then you want to go back through this another time to make sure. And there's something else I should say here. Don't worry about not getting all the gold. It's right here. It's not going anywhere. You can drain this water, dry this out, do it again. You should do it again because you're never going to get all the gold on the first try. Nobody does. I don't care what they say. Gonna shake it, stratify it, and I'm gonna roll it back again just to double check. No gold. All right. I always rinse the pan out so I got everything out of it. I'm gonna add a little water here. I poured out a bunch. All right, so now I know what the material's like. I can judge how much of this I can do. For a beginner, I would recommend doing 1 spoon at a time for a while. I'm going to do a couple spoons because I know what's in here and I'm not a beginner, so. But I would recommend 1 spoon at a time until you're comfortable to move up, you know. Paydirt is all about, for me, Paydirt is all about relaxation and enjoying it. If you're feeling rushed, if you're not having fun, just stop. Don't even do it. You're destroying the whole reason you're doing it, you know what I mean? It's not about making money. You're never going to make money off of this. It's about relaxation. It's a hobby, you know, it's supposed to be fun. For me, this is therapy. And as far as these little riffles go, I wouldn't recommend using these until you're more comfortable. You can use them. I probably use them more than I use these actually, but it's easier to lose your gold using the small riffles. Small riffles would be for smaller material when you get down to the black sand, or until you're comfortable with panning, I would not pan off black sand. because if you're panning black sand, that means your heavies are going out. Your gold could be going out too. But if I could recommend anything for a beginner, I would say once you get down to where it starts looking dark, do a flip back. Don't pan it off until you're more comfortable with panning. It's very easy to pan your gold out and not realize it. But again, that's going to happen a little bit anyway. And it's going to be right here, so you don't really have anything to worry about. This is some really dirty stuff. This is not the material this bag usually has. I'm keeping it from going all the way up. I don't want it to hit the back of the wall here. Finger in it. I'm going to re-stratify. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. It's not a race, Do what you're comfortable doing. Now we're going to roll it back. If you have too much water right now, it'll pull all the material. The water's heavy, it pulls. Very light flicks of the wrist. And you'll notice when you're panning that 9 times out of 10, your gold is all, it depends on how you shake the pan personally. Your gold is always going to end up on one side or the other. My gold always ends up on the right. Maybe because I'm right-handed, I don't know. But once I see that gold, I'll start working on this side over here by flicking the water up almost to the gold, just to eliminate some of that black sand before I do my tap. Yeah, that black sand is falling away. Give it one over here to get rid of that little pebble right there. You see that speck that's moving like that? That means that's not gold. That's way too light. Then I'll come over here and I'll give it the tap on this side and the gold jumps out. Hope you guys can see this. Make a panning tutorial and nobody can see anything. That'd be hilarious. That sounds like something I'd do. I'm just going to wick away that last little bit of black sand. Take that stuff down. Little floater's getting on my nerves. Alright, there's our gold. Snuffer bottle out. Make sure the gold's underwater. Squeeze the sides. And then let go when you get to the gold. You can even squeeze the opposite way. Makes it suck in faster. Watch. So I'm squeezing it like this, right? If say there's gold here and I'm wanting to suck it up, I'll turn the bottle and squeeze the other side. Hear that? That's super suction. So right now, the way I would do this, after I got that gold out, is I would use these smaller ripples to pan down this stuff a little more. See how it goes down them? Now you can do this, but just know, very easy to lose your gold this way. But I already got most of the gold out, so I'm not worried about it. Same idea though, stratify. And when you stratify, you want to make sure that you get all the material that's stuck in these by getting the water over top of it and shaking it, and the material will fall down. Okay, knocked it down some. All the material out of the riffles. Okay, now I'm gonna flip it back one more time, just to make sure. Sometimes you'll notice that, like if I'm going this way with the water, I'm going this way, the black sand stop moving, I'll switch it up. Because if it stops moving this way, something's stopping it. You can go this way and it'll move. It's a quick way to get rid of your black sand. Nothing. I need more water. I have to refill this. Alright, we'll do a pan of the big stuff, and then I'll do the rest off camera. I hope this helped somebody. Once I'm done, I will show you guys how I dry my gold out. It's going to be, I have an electric oven, so I use the oven. If you have a gas stove, you might not want to do that. I don't know. It's up to you, but there's a really easy way to do it with an electric oven. There's lots of ways to dry your gold. You can just leave it sitting out overnight and it will dry. If you can set it in the sun, hour in the sun, whole pan's dry. Same with the material. You want to dry out your material when you're done. I have a cookie sheet that I have dedicated strictly to Paydirt. I put it in the oven, 350 for 20 minutes. It's dry. Or I'll set it on my balcony in the sun on a really sunny day, a couple hours in the sun, and it's usually dry. So do some of it. Look at that, look at that. Ooh wee. Oh, there's lots of gold in this. I can see it. It's going to be a good pan. Alright. Now for rocks, I like to use the smaller riffles. But I'll show you how to do it with the big riffles too. But for me, rocks roll out easier with the smaller riffles. Look at all that shit floating. Look at that. This material did not used to be that way. I don't know what he's changed up, but Mike has changed his material lately. This used to be completely different. This reminds me of the high grader material. That stuff was filthy. I can hear something in there. You'll notice if you're ever doing a bag with like nuggets or big gold, you can hear there's a very distinct sound when a large piece of gold is shaken back and forth on plastic. Very distinct. I know you can't hear it over my microphone because my microphone blocks out back noise, but I can hear something in this pan, and it's probably bigger than that picker we just seen. Very distinct sound. Now when I'm panning out rocks like this, I will go through and just flick out the bigger ones. Be careful not to drag no gold with it. You always want to get them wet, because there might be like flour gold stuck to them. So you always want to at least get them wet. Oh yeah, there's a nugget in here. Yeah, this is a 3-gram Paydirt with a 1-gram nugget, by the way. There is a nugget in here. I can hear it. Now the sides that don't have things, people call those the finishing sides. You just got to be careful because there's nothing holding your stuff back except for this ring here. Yeah, look at that nugget poking through. Normally when you see gold poking through, you want to stop and re-stratify. Yeah, that's a big nugget. Here, look at that. Look at that gold. Ooh wee. Look at that. That is heavy. That's my 1-gram nugget. Listen. Ooh wee. They're all pickers. All that is not going down the snuffer. Yeah, you'll get gold that won't go down the snuffer. You just got to open it up and drop it in there. What I'm going to do right now. Man, that's a hell of a nugget. I forgot I was doing a tutorial. Sorry. Nothing. Alright. I'm going to change this water out, do the rest off camera, and then I will be back to show you how I dry out the gold, and then we'll weigh the gold. And if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I try to answer any question that pops up in my comments. Yeah. So, questions, comments, concerns, anything I didn't cover that you wanted covered, let me know. Maybe I can put it in the next video. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps somebody. I know it wasn't very long. I'm trying to keep my videos shorter because watch retention is awful. Nobody watches past about 10 minutes. So, yeah, I'm going to start trying to make shorter videos. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good week, and we'll be back for the dry out and weigh in. Sorry. Okay, panning this Paydirt's taking a lot longer than I thought it would because this stuff is filthy. A snuffer dump and a weigh-in is nice and all, but it's not necessary for a panning tutorial. So I'm just going to show you how I dry out gold and end the video so I can get it posted today. Otherwise, I'm not going to get it posted today. And I already got a video for tomorrow I want to post, so sorry if you wanted to see the snuffer dump, but I'll post pictures on my community tab or something. But anyway, So this is my stove, of course. This is my Paydirt pan. Let's say there's gold in this pan. There's not right now, but let's say there is. What I do, sorry, I turn the stove on. I set it to 400. I open the door a little bit. You know how that is? I set the pan on the cookie sheet and I pull it out. When I feel it where it starts to tip, push it back a little bit. And I set this heavy on the back just for safety's sake. At 400 degrees, the gold is dry in less than 4 minutes, I'd say. It will heat up your kitchen a little bit too, but we all make sacrifices, right? If that's not an option for you, if you have a gas stove and don't want to do that for some reason, you can always get you a little skillet. Let's see, I got one. A little skillet on a burner. Put your gold in the skillet, put it on low, medium heat, and just let it dry. It will not melt, I assure you. That burner does not get hot enough to melt gold. So, yeah. Sorry about the shaky cam. I had to do it this way. But yeah, that's 2 different ways to dry your gold. Another way is just set it out, let it dry overnight. Set it in the sun, let it dry for a couple hours. Lots of ways to dry your gold. People use heat guns. I'm not a fan of heat guns because it'll blow your flour gold right out of the pan. I don't use a heat gun for that reason. So, yeah. So that's it. That's how I dry gold. Just like that. The heat comes up, warms the pan, warms this pan. And if you leave it for an hour or something, you might melt your gold pan. But 400 degrees, I've left it for 10-15 minutes and been fine, you know, but the gold dries really quick. So that's that. Thank you for watching my panning tutorial. I'm sure I left something out. Let me know in the comments if there's something I didn't cover that you want me to cover, or if I did a terrible job, or if you just think I'm an asshole. Whatever, leave a comment. You know, I can take criticism. I enjoy it. That's all I got. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Be kind, don't be a dick.